Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today, we have Mr. Ryan with us. Ryan is the founder of your Virtual Legal Counsel, that is YVLC Legal, a one-stop legal tech solution for startups, solopreneurs, and SMEs. He functions as the head corporate legal advisor and bring legal solutions from a commercial aspects, working with founders based in America, Africa, Dubai, India, and the MENA region. Not just this, he also actively mentors young lawyers in their careers and early stage startups. So without proceeding any further, let me just quickly introduce you to him. Hello, Mr. Ryan. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure is all ours. So before we start, I just have a small question for you, sir. The question is like, how did you go from being an in-house counsel to a virtual legal counsel? And if I may ask, what is a VLC and why, or what made you do it?
Sure. So first I'll get on to how I started being an in-house counsel, which was, with my experience as a private practice lawyer in intellectual property, a little bit in corporate law, a little bit in-house in terms of being in India. That gave me the exposure and experience to be an in-house counsel for multiple companies and on an ongoing basis. And I felt that that's essentially what being a virtual legal counsel was until COVID happened, right? And that I feel was the natural progression, or is the natural progression of a lawyer in a post-COVID world, right? Where we can act as an in-house counsel or a private practice lawyer for multiple clients by being fully remote, fully autonomous, and helping and working for them in different aspects uh, of their required legal requirements.
Amazing.
And with
Amazing.
regards to your second question of being a VLC and
VLC,
what made me do it, I felt I wanted to have the freedom to be able to travel, to be able to work from wherever. That is what was happening during just when COVID started and when everybody went fully remote. So it was something that I not only embraced and imbibed, but felt that I wanted to build as part of the ethos for what it is that I wanted to do for the next, 5, 10, 15, and so on and so forth, right? So merging my skills of being a lawyer, being an in-house legal practitioner, and wanting to travel, live abroad, work from different places, it all made sense for me to be a virtual legal counsel. So that was essentially why I did it. And what it is basically being a virtual general counsel or an in-house legal counsel on an ongoing basis, preferably, and on certain occasions on a one-time or transactional basis for multiple startups, SMEs, and solopreneurs as you may have it.
Amazing. That was really inspiring. And thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, sir. Mr. Ram, since we are talking about the change, I really wanted to know that what was the first few assignments of yours that you took initially, and how or what have you been your serving offerings changed that over the time?
Sure. So when I first started out, I started with reviewing 1 or 2 documents or agreements for freelance clients as an individual solo practitioner. That slowly developed into building their website policies, drafting their standard contracts for them to set up their businesses. And along came a couple of the first few, I would say, virtual legal counsel gigs where I was ongoing and helping them research their policies in terms of internal documentation, in terms of structuring their company, in terms of making sure that they were compliant with different laws and different regulations that they needed to be following in different jurisdictions, right? So the first such very interesting topic or client was into crypto and gaming, right? So I had to help them understand the different gaming and cryptocurrency regulations that existed in certain countries and which were the most favorable for them and which made sense for them in terms of corporate structuring, getting licenses and permissions and taking that on to letting them go live, right? And that just spiraled into making a package of sorts where I provided them the service of being an in-house counsel on a fractional basis, on an hourly basis, right? They were purchasing
Yeah.
blocks of time from me, and it just went from there. And now we have very well constructed plans, right? As virtual legal counsels, we've even called them different names and uniquely priced them. They are all on our website, but essentially, how they're broken down is by providing them unlimited contract drafting and reviewing and revisions, right? And the next is where we tack on a negotiation. So we help them negotiate these contracts with third parties, whether it's with a service provider or with a partner, or even internally at times with somebody who's joining their company as maybe a CEO or so on and so forth, right? And the
Mhm.
second two plans are where we level it up and we tack on the service of intellectual property registration, portfolio management, IP strategy and protection. And the last is where we give them everything under the sun, which includes corporate structuring, corporate governance, legal compliance, and so on and so forth. So all of that is how we've kind of, uh, you know, changed from doing one-off transactional type works of one contract, a few trademarks, and one or two corporate structurings into something more well laid out and well planned out. And these are all monthly plans that clients can take on a month-to-month basis, change up and down as per needed, based on the services that they require.
Amazing. It seems like a really important and, of course, difficult task to do. Just wanted to talk out in general, like how was your experience as of now being a VLC? How was your experience?
So I would say being a virtual legal counsel for the past, year and a half now, it's almost 2 years, I think now, has been incredible. The journey has been amazing. I've traveled to so many countries in the past couple of years. I've worked out of the US in Seattle. I've worked out of Portugal, Dubai, even traveled to Southeast Asia, in Vietnam, in Bali, and even in Thailand. So working from different places is one of the most enjoyable parts of being a virtual legal counsel for me. And I feel it's a different thrill of working from somewhere absolutely spectacular and at the same time making money, doing work for clients, helping them, protecting them, and making sure that we're always watching over their back. And regardless of where we are, regardless of what we're doing, whether we're on vacation, which is almost never, right? Or at the same time, traveling and finding different things in our future, we're at the same time prioritizing our clients' work, which at the same time used to happen back in the day, just that we had the need and requirement to sit in an office, be behind a desk, and meet the people that we needed to meet and the employees and colleagues that we worked with and sit out of a specific place, which I feel no more is the case. And that is changing for the most part, but at the same time, it is staying on track for as it used to be for the majority, right? I feel the majority is not getting into remote work 100% or fully remote, right? Everybody's doing some sort of hybrid model or back to work and so on and so forth. But there are a lot of good companies and a lot of small companies, right? Startups are imbibing the work from wherever, work from home model, but it's not always the case. And especially I feel in the legal and professional careers, everybody's being asked to either come to work from the office at least once in a while. And there's a policy and a plan and a entire rollout for how that's supposed to be done, especially with the tier 1, tier 2 law firms and companies across the board.
Absolutely. It was really nice to hear about your experience, something really that we have new coming up into the legal industry. But since whenever we start anything new, one thing that always strikes to our mind is about the future. So, talking about this, Mr. Ryan, I would like to know that how do you see remote working and virtual consultancies in next 3 to 5 years? Like, are they here to stay, or I would say, has it already reverted to the pre-pandemic work culture?
Right. So to that point, I think it is and it will continue to be the new normal for some startups, some well-known companies, some Fortune 500 companies. But it is and will slowly fade back to pre-pandemic in-person, in-office work life for the majority of the folks, right?
Yeah,
Because for whatever reason, either it's coming from all the way from the top, or it's coming from just your superior, right? Um, there is some level of requirement for them to see you working, see you not playing around, see you not wasting time, see you doing certain things that give them a certain level of comfort and convenience in terms of their managerial skills, right?
yeah,
But I feel what needed to be changed is not necessarily the mindset, but also the way in which people manage other people, right? So if that managerial skills were to change and develop with using technology, for instance, using certain level of training and autonomy, right? If people were trained and people were given certain requirements and tasks to be fulfilled and they fulfill them, then by all means, let them, have their lunch break at home. Let them, go and pick up their kids if they needed to from school and, be back for their, 5 o'clock meeting and so on and so forth, right? So I'm all for, allowing the employees, the staff, the partners, whoever, however high up or low down, right, their job title
absolutely.
is, to be able to do their jobs entirely
Yeah,
remotely and with as much autonomy as they should have to be empowered to do their work. Right? At times, whether you're remote or you're in person, because your manager does not give you that enough level of autonomy,
yeah,
you have to keep checking with that person. You have to say, hey, is this okay? Can I give this discount? Can I, take up this client? Can I make this meeting at such and such time? Right.
mhm,
So all these checks and balances at times either demotivates the employee and you stray away from, doing as you please and having the freedom and basically trying to, be the leader of the flock versus being a follower, right? So I feel
absolutely.
that's part of the mentality change that needs to happen,
Yeah,
and I think will happen over the next 3 to 5 years, and companies will imbibe the new normal. But as I mentioned earlier, it will be for the few, uh, maybe the lucky few, right? Let's keep it as that.
yeah. Absolutely. It was really nice as if now seeing something really, I have no words to, describe this thing, which is something really, I would say, important and which is something really good for the same. Now, just, something that I really wanted to know is what exactly drives you to do what exactly you do, and what are your plans to take this virtual form in reference to short, medium, or maybe long term?
Sure. So, I mean, that's a really good question, and it's good to be asking the founder of the organization that question. So, whilst I fully recognize that we're a young and nimble team, but we have the ability to deliver very high quality legal support with a very short turnaround time, right? And that
Yeah.
too at a reasonable price. So, because we've understood these certain things, and at the same time, we also understand that we bring a very different skill map that is unique and unparalleled, right, to other law firms or other in-house legal services, whether temporary or permanent, and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
Our immediate future plans are to bring on our first 5 virtual legal counsel partners, right, who will
Okay.
be the, Foodtech virtual legal counsel, e-commerce virtual legal counsel, blockchain, martech, edtech, and so on and so forth. These tech niches are in no order of priority, right?
Yeah.
But we will have, so to speak, a justice league of super lawyers, right? That will
Yeah.
own their own domain, their own tech niche, right? And we'll build a portfolio of clientele around and under each vertical, right? So as opposed to having a banking and finance department in a law firm that you would ordinarily have, here we choose to have a fintech vertical, right? With the fintech virtual legal counsel who's been in 3 to 4 or maybe more different fintech companies as an in-house counsel. Right? So, what better
Mhm.
person to advise multiple other fintech companies, right?
Absolutely.
And same goes on for each and every other, right? So, we want to
Yeah.
be able to launch also a prototype or a beta version or an MVP of sorts, right? Of a
Mhm.
legal DAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization, right? For our first
Yeah.
5 virtual legal counsels that come on board. And we're looking to do this next year in 2023, right? And subsequently, we will first, of course, pilot it with these first 5, and then subsequently bring on 5 more virtual legal counsels. And they will just add on to the different tech niches that we will cover, right?
Mhm.
And that's how we will start with our first 5, 10, and eventually 15 virtual legal counsels that cover each and every different type of uh, tech niche that exists, right? From drone
Yeah.
tech to martech, from ad tech to e-commerce and quick commerce, and so on and so forth, right? So the next and most important thing that I feel very passionate about, and is one of the reasons why I'm already starting to mentor young lawyers and young startups, is to launch the YVLC Academy, right? And that's where we
Mhm.
will teach young lawyers and lawyers that want to become virtual legal counsels and take their skills online, right? We'll help them build their own brand and find their own clientele, because whilst at the same time we understand that maybe not everybody will imbibe and grow to our same ethos and same mentality and be part of the YVLC culture, we would still want
Mhm.
to be able to teach them and help them learn the tricks of the trade and understand what it is that they need to be doing and how they need to be positioning themselves, with maybe starting with setting up their own website, going up on YouTube, doing things that ordinarily lawyers of their age and demographic aren't necessarily doing to become a virtual legal counsel, right? So that's the next step where we then teach, right? The people, the lawyers that want to become virtual legal counsel. So these are our
Mhm.
short to mid-term, you can say, plans that we have, or visions and goals that we have put out. But in terms of our long-term goals, that stems from our vision to redefine the possibilities by empowering others to use their potential and be more fulfilled in their journey, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, exactly.
we at the same time want to achieve and aim to achieve this by focusing on our mission, which is to help innovative entrepreneurs gain the autonomy and freedom as they're redefining the market standard, right? We feel
Yeah.
that the clients that we have, the people that work with us, are all innovative entrepreneurs, and we would want them to have the freedom as they continue to keep innovating and pushing the envelope, right? And
Yeah, absolutely.
the last thing that we feel is we believe that staying true to our core values, we have 5 core values that's up on our website, which you can take a look at when we have the time. And also by following our guiding principle, right? We
Yeah.
will be able to achieve our big, hairy, audacious goal, which is to
Mhm.
advise 10,000 startups, solopreneurs, and SMEs by the year 2025 to enable a more happier and more fulfilled business community, right? So this is as far as into the future as I have seen. And by then, I believe we should already have our own virtual office built in the metaverse somewhere in the future.
Amazing. Well, Mr. Ryan, I must say that the plan that you have for the legal technology sounds really promising. This is something which is really amazing to know. And as I said before, this is something really new and something really, innovative, which is coming towards the legal era, I would say. But one thing that I really want to understand, Mr. Ryan, is that since we all know that in every sector we are evolving with the technology. In the layman, it's just like this is the era of technology. And specifically, if we talk about the technology, we know that technology is hitting towards the legal fraternity as well. So my the point that I really want to understand is in this legal technology, in this era of legal technology, what are the most commonly used tools for you?
Good question to ask. So,
Mhm.
whilst till date, we have not invested heavily into legal technology, um,
Okay.
there are quite a few tools that we do use that we love using, right? For example, we use Calendly to schedule our meetings, right? I'm sure a lot of you all know about Calendly and use it every now and again. But at the same time, there are so many lawyers, so many professionals that A, maybe not familiar with how Calendly works, even though it's pretty simple. And at the same time, have 3 or 4 back and forths of when are you free, when am I free, what time, what date, so on and so forth. Right? Once with this one link, it makes everything so much more simpler, especially for me. Every time I'm in a new city, new country that's on a different time zone, I just go in, update that, and my meetings are all at the same times that I would like it, right? It's
Yeah.
just that it shows up differently for other people. Similarly, I've done away with physical business cards, right? I use either a link tree is what I started out using, which is one link that auto populates a whole list of links to maybe my YouTube, maybe my LinkedIn, maybe my email address, my WhatsApp, so on and so forth. Right? It's an electronic thing. I can send it to anybody, anywhere, and they can be connected with me as much or as little as I'd like. Right? They can see much more than what would be there on a plain business card. Right? And I can go so far as to put as much color and change it up as and when I want it, right? So it's so much more flexible. I moved on to from Linktree to using Milkshake, which is another similar tool to make what I call a virtual business card, right? And now we have our own physical business cards that are digital business cards. They're NFC cards and they physically tap and everything is auto populates in somebody else's phone, right? And you'll probably see that at the conference and I'll use it and you'll enjoy that experience maybe. Um,
Absolutely. We would.
Another tool that we use is, of course, Google Workspace, right? For Google Meets, for sharing documents with clients. We work on Google Docs and even have, multiple rounds of revisions and iterations where we leave comments and everything is all on the one document that we've created. And we just don't have to keep saving different revisions and so on and so forth, right? The one big investment that we have done and made in terms of legal tech is more in terms of our improved and new website, right? Where we've laid out the plans, we've laid out all the different types of testimonials that our lovely clients have given us, whether in audio, video, and written form. We've explained all the lovely things that we've done and accomplished in our deals and cases section. And we've also talked about our lovely team that we've built, right? Mukta and Tushar and our communications partner, Romelin. They've all come together to build that team, to make that website what it is today. And we're very, very proud of that investment that we've made.
Amazing. It was really nice to hear about that. Well, one more thing that I really want your views on is that we all believe in this fact that time is money in any profession. But speaking about the legal industry, Mr. Rana, I would like you to share your views in this phase, which is time is money. And in legal, we believe that this is the most that like the lawyers, the people in the legal industry use this phrase a lot. They value this phrase a lot. So how do you ensure to make the best of your time as a lawyer?
Right. So what I would say is that whilst time is money and money is important, money isn't everything, right? So
Absolutely.
coming back to how to use your time, whether as a lawyer, as a legal professional, or just as a human being, right? I feel doing more of what is it that you enjoy, what is it that you love, whether it's traveling, being with family, cooking, eating, working out, any of those things, right? Or 100 other things that I couldn't even possibly have the time to name, right? um, it's important that you find time to do those things, right? And
Yeah.
I won't say that the rest will take care of itself, because it won't, right? When you look at managing your time, or looking at time management as a skill, right? It
Mhm.
is something that you need to do conscientiously. You have to figure out, when do you want to work? When are you most at your optimal best, right? When do you want to interact and meet other people? When do you want to take breaks? What do you want to do in those breaks? When do you want to get back to working? What are things that you want to do that's related to your work but is not billable, right? There are lots of things that I do on a day-to-day basis that no client is paying me to do, but it's my job to be doing it, right? So
Absolutely.
whilst it's very important to be managing your time and to be doing things that you love and enjoy, it is also important to make time to do the things that you need to be doing to take yourself from one level to the next, and so on and so forth, right? Because there are a lot
Right.
of things that you may have to do that you don't get paid for, that you don't get thanks for, but when it happens and you see that happening out in front of you, like, for example, getting this meeting done, doing everything that we needed to do to set up this interview, right?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
absolutely incredible, and I thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I'm really happy that I was able to speak to you and answer these questions, and get to know a little bit, y'all got to get to know a little bit more about YVLC and what it is that we do.
No, Mr. Ryan, I would say that we thank you so much for sharing your amazing thoughts on everything. Thank you so much for sharing such great insights with us. We look really forward to having a conversation, having a chat again in future on some other trending topics that we have in the international legal fraternity, in the international legal industry. But here's something for our viewers. If you really like this chat, I would request you to please like and share this video, and also subscribe to our Clickaway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do, and you have more coming from the industry leaders. This is Krish from LexTalk World signing off.